FitPro, do you deal with personal trainer comparison syndrome? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about is exactly that, personal trainer comparison syndrome and how to fix it. What I'm going to break down is a story on literally how we sat there and compared ourselves to some of the pioneers and coaches we worked with when we did a lot of online fitness coaching. And I'm also going to give you guys 4 different tactics how you can break through this comparison syndrome. And I'm going to share a story with you from one of our dynamic FitPro students, how they broke past this comparison syndrome in this video. So stay tuned. All right, FitPro, so in this video, let's talk about comparison syndrome. This is a huge internal self-limiting belief that we deal with the little voice right here on our shoulder saying, you know what? I'm going to compare myself to this influencer. I'm going to compare myself to this authority. I'm going to compare myself to that pioneer in the industry, right? And it's a common thing, especially when you're getting started on this journey, you know, as a fitness professional and, you know, eventually building your business, right? Whether you're doing in person or online or a combination of the hybrid training model, okay? We dealt with comparison syndrome literally for a couple of years when we first started our online fitness business, right? Dynamic Duo Training back in 2011, okay? For 2 years, right? Literally, we would sit there and compare ourselves to our own coach. We were actually coached by 𝐿ane Norton, right? For 5 full years. For the first 2 years, literally we were comparing ourselves to him, literally trying to do everything that he was doing as far as coaching, trying to speak like him, trying to write like him, trying to do content like him. And honestly, it sold ourselves so short because we were not taught, like we didn't find our own voice. It wasn't our own messaging. We weren't using our own unique story and gifts that we had and talents as a coach. We were trying to compare ourselves to 𝐿ane Norton, try to sit there and mimic everything he did, right? Same thing when we were putting out content as well too. I think 2 years in when we really started kind of rolling in like content and we really focused on like building our blog site. So we were like writing a lot, right? So what we did was literally we would sit there and be so fearful of kind of posting that content out there and comparing ourselves like to the way 𝐿ane wrote or like maybe 𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 wrote or Dr. Joe wrote, because again, they're our coaches as well too. And for some reason we thought they were gonna go to like our blog post and sit there and like read our content and be like, Chris and Eric, that is wrong right there. Like that's not right about nutrition. That's not right about training, right? Those guys did not have time to sit there and read our content, our blog, right? So again, it was a self-limiting belief in our head, trying to compare ourselves to them with the writing style, their voices, their messaging as coaches, their own unique gifts and talents. And we try to sit there and replicate that and try to really sit there and compare ourselves to them.
And another thing too, I want to add to that, Chris, really quick, is just, I remember too when we were creating content, whether it was like Facebook and then Instagram was barely scratching the surface coming up as like a social media platform, but same thing like Chris said, we wanted to sound like these like very educated high fitness pioneers that had PhDs, right? And they were in the trenches with, you know, doing research and the whole scientific literature stuff. Like Chris and I weren't doing that. So it's like almost like we weren't being true and staying true to who we were as fitness professionals, right? So the content we put out a bunch of just like jargon, what I call it, just very heavy, like big terms of just like exercise physiology, exercise science, like all this stuff that people really don't care about, that like general population people do not care. You know, they're just looking for accountability, hope, and then like for you to help them, you know, get out of pain. So big mistake that we did, but it went back to just comparison syndrome and wanting to, you know, be more like 𝐿ane, a Dr. Joe, and 𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿. So
exactly.
Yeah, so just, I know you guys are going through this, we've gone through it, so it's a very common thing. So that's why we want to give you guys 4, you know, tactics to, you know, bust through and overcome comparison syndrome as a fitness professional. All right, so let's get into these 4 tactics on how to overcome comparison syndrome as a fitness professional. Number 1 is you have to surrender to it, right? It's almost like kind of like, it's like you have to accept it. You know, we all have our flaws, we all have our self-limiting beliefs and false beliefs. It's just normal human behavior, but we do have the ability to overcome these, right? And continue to break past it and become better. So just surrender to it. Just be like, okay, like I am, you know, at fault. I do compare myself to these influencers, to these other fitness professionals, and it is causing some sort of issue to me. If you even want to write it down on a blank piece of paper or post it note, put it somewhere visual so it reminds your subconscious to where it's like you're just holding yourself accountable, that works too. But guys, just surrender to it. It's not a big deal.
And step number 2, how to break past comparison syndrome could be just literally stop following some of these people that you're really envious of, and for some reason, like you get upset when they're doing really good or something like that, right, in their business. Just stop following them for a while, right? Like honestly, like I dealt with that as well too. I couldn't go down the Instagram feed for maybe about like 3 to 4 months, and I was okay with that. I accepted it. I surrendered, like Eric said, right? And then after that, when I overcame all that stuff, Then I was sitting there going back to the feed after 3 or 4 months, and I was like cheerleading these people on. I was rooting them on, right? I was like abundant. You know, my mindset was like, yeah, that's awesome that they're doing this, they're doing that, they're serving people at the highest level. So stop following people for a while and just see what that does.
Yeah, it just kind of goes back out to like the type of energy you're going to put out to the universe. That's going to like come back to you, right? So just cheer these people on and look at them as inspiration. But also to piggyback off Chris, so number 3 is literally, you know, take a blank piece of paper out, do a brain dump, and just write why you're envious of these people, you know, that are doing well, like in the same industry. Like there's got to be a reason, because to me, that's not really a normal behavior to be envious of people, right? I mean, there's got to be an underlying root problem that you're dealing with. Like, again, we're human. We have to peel back layers as people first and really master our mindsets before we can go serve other people, you know, such as fitness clients. So write it down, lay it all out. Like, what is it that just gets you just angry? What makes you just your blood boil about these people, and what makes you envious? And I promise, once you see that all written out, you're gonna be like, holy crap, like, wow, that's like not a good thing. That's a very toxic mindset. And it's like, I got to change that in order to sit there and become successful and put out that good energy, you know, with my content and, you know, find my voice.
Exactly. You know what gets me really like angry too is having to look at this guy and we have the same exact eyebrows.
I knew he was going to say something.
So the fourth way to kind of like break past comparison syndrome is just be yourself. You know, honestly, I know it's like easier said than done, but be yourself, find your own voice, find your own message, because I truly believe that we each have our own unique gifts and talents to be able to serve out to the world. And we have our own unique superhuman powers, right, as a fitness coach. So just be yourself, find your own voice, find your own message. And I know it takes a little bit of time, but just trust in yourself and your own unique gifts and talents, okay? And, you know, I want to share another story with you too, with one of our Dynamic Fit Pro students, Ashley Soro. So her as well too. I remember probably 2 years ago when we were in Los Angeles sitting inside, you know, one of the offices, and we were doing her 6-hour VIP coaching day, right? And one of the first things she told us was she had something like this with comparison syndrome, where she was on Instagram comparing herself to these influencers with like hundreds of thousands and millions of followers, right? And some of these influencers, they're really not that influential, okay, right? So it was just a self-limiting belief that she was dealing with, right? So we had to kind of break down those layers with her, and really 90 days after, we kind of had a game plan for her with some of these strategies we just gave you on these tactics. She was flourishing. She was out there putting out content. She was serving. She was getting more online clients, right? She was making more income, impact, independence, you know, in her coaching business.
So if you guys are struggling with, you know, comparison syndrome as a self-limiting belief, you know, it's really holding you back to just take the next step and get to the next level in your fitness coaching business, then check out our book, Rise of the Fit Pros, How to Create More Income, Impact, Influence, and Independence. And the cool thing is too, we're giving this book out completely free. We're giving the digital / ebook version and the audio version. All you have to do is click the link below, get the book, read it, listen to it, take action on it, and I promise you guys will be able to break past these self-limiting beliefs little by little, and the biggest one, comparison syndrome. So download the book below, and also let me know, you know, what you thought about this video. Was it helpful? Any comments, feedback, that'd be great. Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. But other than that, continue to go forward, and we'll see you guys in the inside.